Hello everybody, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. Hope you guys are all doing wonderfully. What that? Yeah, that's just what that. Yeah, don't worry about that. Concentrate on me. Stay with me, okay? Sorry for the late reaction video to the England squad. We're going to dive into it. Some of the names obviously aren't on the list. Kind of compare it to the squad that I put forward, my last squad, and talk about the whole Trent saga, because I think it's something that's completely maybe detracted from the right feeling, the feeling that we all kind of had in 2018 for our England squad and our England team and our England manager. So we'll dive into all of that. First of all, guys, get involved in the comments. Let me know what you think about the squad. See if there's a couple of people that you're generally kind of annoyed that aren't in there or are in there. But let's dive into it first of all. Here is the squad. So Henderson, Johnston, Pickford. I think we were expecting that. No big news there really. The whole conversation was constantly around Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, if you want to be kind of cynical about England and Southgate, then you won't believe what I'm about to say to you. But you see in the press conference, Gareth Southgate was saying that he told Trent 3 weeks ago that he was going to be in the squad. 3 weeks ago. Right? And then there's been all this. I think when I look at it, because I looked at the day yesterday and it was like in the morning Trent's out. Daily Mail have said it. Trent's definitely out. And then by 4 o'clock he's back in. Now, again, if you want a conspiracy theory, if you want to go down that road, then cool, that's fine. And you need kind of conspiracies because that's journalism. That's where sometimes there are stories and sometimes they are true. But I just think that Southgate has generally managed this actually very, very well. Things like Mason Mount and Grealish and that whole thing a little while back, we're all looking very differently at Mason Mount now. Southgate has been very strong in his feelings and his views, but he's also been quite fair a lot of the time. And there are some interesting kind of omissions in this. So from that 33 squad, again, maybe I'm trying to go positive with this, and, this is my opinion. You don't need to agree with it. It's up to you. But the likes of Ben White and Ben Godfrey and Ramsdale, I wonder if there's an element here where you look at how young this squad is and you go to those players who've had good seasons and you can see being a part of the group long term, bringing them in as much as a kind of a sign of well done, an award almost from being in the under-21s and going, look, we're excited about you. Here is a taste of the England squad. Okay, you're not going to be in it this time, which again is an easy thing to do. But at the same time, if things had gone wrong with Maguire or other players, you had someone there where you go, well, no, look, we saw you. We wanted you to be a part of all of this. But if they're not in the squad, and of course they're not in the squad, you've got Ben Godfrey, Ben White, Ramsdale, who've had a little taste of it now and will come back next season and go, oh, there's an opportunity here for me. If I keep playing the way that I'm playing, I can get myself in that squad. I can be a part of that again. I think that's smart. I think that's pretty intelligent. The other thing about him, like using as much time as he can, again, that just makes sense to me logically. Again, people might disagree. People might think you need clarity in what you're doing. But I think we've got so many options that he wanted to take as long as he could. And ultimately, it's his prerogative to make those decisions. Onto the squad itself, the big talking point, of course, is the 4 right-backs. I'm delighted that he's made the right choice. But I do think, when I look back on it, the story was Trent missing out. And so I wonder if the sort of discourse that surrounded it all was that this squad was actually quite obvious to pick. And so with Trent as an option, as someone that he'd left out for that period of time, but then, he proved him right or wrong or whatever you want to call it. It's the only story that's there. It's the only story that's there. And I think that's why, everyone was talking about it. It is a really good talking point. And again, I was kind of like looking at it. Even if Trent hadn't been in it, we're not going to win or lose the Euros based on one right back, especially when, look at the 4 right backs we've got. The 4 right backs are absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Sorry, this is my squad. Look, you've got Trent, who's like one of the most exciting talents, I believe. And then you've got Reece James, who's won the Champions League. You've got Kyle Walker, who's won the Premier League, and you've got Trippier, who's won the La Liga. So if Trent hadn't been in the squad, I would have disagreed with it. but I would have presumed that Southgate would have had his reasons. And that's, when I look at the Greenwood omission and the fact that it was, obviously down to an injury, that's the one question for you guys. Love to know what you think. If Greenwood is fit and available, is he in that squad? And if he is in that squad, who is out of the squad? That's one of the things that we will probably never know. I mean, maybe we will, maybe we won't, who knows? But we probably won't. And again, that's kind of my point in terms of how I think he's managed this Southgate, because he's given himself the numbers to be able to kind of make it feel fair and him go, well, I can make my decision at this point, so I'm going to make my decision at this point. And that's how they were able to look at Greenwood and go, look, you're not fit, mate. Let's just leave it and we'll move on from that. Going into midfield, James Ward-Prowse missing out, Lingard missing out. I think that, again, it's kind of much of a muchness. When I look at it, in terms of James Ward-Prowse, I think James Ward-Prowse was initially, I thought he was competing with Jude Bellingham. In the end, the more I look at this squad now, he was competing with Calvin Phillips. And Southgate had kind of made his decision already. Some of those bigger qualifying games, he'd used Calvin Phillips. He'd made his call there. And so, yeah, look, he's great at set pieces. He's a very consistent performer. But again, it's preference. I don't think it's not like one player's outrageously like a world-class talent that needs to go and one's not. They're both really good players, and Southgate prefers him. I'm cool with it. So Henderson is interesting. It looks like he's going to be training and playing in some of these warm-up games, which is great to see. I think the likes of Henderson, the likes of Mings, Cody, Maguire obviously was going to be in there regardless as long as he was fit. But that experience is actually huge in this squad because there is such a lack of experience in the squad. And then further forward, like I said, I think if you look at my squad and you look at Southgate's squad, this was the final one I put forward. My final three were Cody, Mings and Greenwood. And so Greenwood, the only difference is Greenwood is out and Trippier has gone in. And so we are kind of stacked at the back a little bit, but obviously there is that preference to play three at the back in those big games quite possibly. And we just, in terms of attacking talent, we are always going to play with kind of three, up top. We're going to have two wide players. Rashford can be another centre forward for the team as well. And so, again, I get it. I think the one that I'm really chuffed with, I think Saka's. I'm really pleased he's picked Saka. I'm really, really pleased because, again, Walker can play midfield. Sorry, Trent can play midfield. Reece James can play midfield. Saka can play midfield. Saka can play left wing. Saka can play right wing. So I think Saka was a really smart option for us to have. But I tell you what, it's incredibly inexperienced. And so again, these kind of last sort of line of picks, the likes of Cody and Mings, the reason why they've gone there, and I think I highlighted these guys at the time in yellow, was because these guys are captains of their teams. They're leaders. And when you've got the lack of caps that this squad has, I mean, it is pretty crazy how few caps these guys have got. Even someone like Luke Shaw. I think Luke Shaw's only started 5 games for England. Only came back recently. Bellingham, very few. Mount hasn't really been in a tournament, has he? Phillips hasn't. There's such a lack of experience there. So I think the likes of Cody and Mings, who most likely won't play apart from the, say we got to the semi-finals and lost that third place playoff and maybe the third group stage game if it's going well for us. I don't really see them playing otherwise, because if these two are fit, you're going to want them to play most games, most minutes. So I get it. I think that's it. That's what and what I would really like to see now is us to kind of draw a line on the deciding someone's a clown or they're not, and get behind the boys. Let's get behind the boys now. This is it. This is our squad. These are our lads. Come on, the lads. And when all is said and done, I don't think there's that many shocks in there. I think, once again, overall, he's probably made the sensible choices. Even with, putting Trippier in there and Greenwood, that is a stumbling block and a talking point for sure. And would it have been Trent or Greenwood? We'll never know. But this is the squad. I'm happy with the squad. I think it's good. I think it's strong. I think there's some really, really exciting players that could have huge, huge tournaments. And when you look at all the squads of the big teams, in terms of the different age groups, there's a few sort of kind of mix and match young squads in there. The likes of Italy, the likes of Spain, the likes of Germany, which I've got a preview coming out today on that one. And they're trying to mix up the kind of the two, maybe less so Germany. But this squad, talent-wise, apart from maybe Portugal, Belgium and France, I put us up there with anyone. And so we got a chance. Come on, the boys. Huh? I'm pleased with that squad. I think it's good. I think it's strong. I think there's been, like, along the way, there's been clamouring for Foden, for Mount, for Grealish, for Trent. And again, these are opinions that everyone's allowed to have. You can either go, oh, he's bent to the will of the people, or you can go, well, no, he's just switched on as us as people. Like, we kind of know that, look, Trent's, ideally you want Trent in your squad because he's wonderful. Ideally you want Grealish because he's wonderful. Like, I don't think he's as stupid as everyone seems to think. I think he's really switched on. I think he's got a team that he listens to. Interesting. So come on, the boys. Come on, England. Let's go and do this now. Let's see what we can do. Okay, 2 wins and a draw against Scotland. Works for me. Yeah. You with me? Huh? Are you? Are you with me? Come on. If you are with me, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel. It's going to be popping off. It is going to be popping off. Right, guys, have a wonderful day. Make sure you check out all the Euro previews because we're really, really proud of them. And we'll speak again very, very soon. Wicked videos on their way. In a bit. Come on, the lads.